And hello, all of you wonderful car lovers out there, and welcome to the C&C Auto Show. And I'm Aaron Clements.
I'm John Ryan.
Okay, and our goal is to share some fantastic information with you to make your car, truck, or SUV safer, to make it more dependable, and to make it last longer for less money and, of course, less hassle also. And we want to say thank you to each and every one of you that tuned in or logged in. We really do appreciate you jumping on board and riding with us on the C&C Auto Show. And we are here to take your phone calls. We would absolutely love to hear from you. All you have to do is pick up the phone, smile and dial 706-863-5800. Of course, if somebody's having car problems, they may not
I was about
be
to say they might not be smiling there.
Yeah, well.
I don't know that'd be good.
When you start to hang up, you'll be smiling because we'll find out what's going on with your car.
You can call and cuss.
Exactly. Okay. All right. You can go to ccautoshow.com and watch the show live. You can email your question or watch past shows at that same address. That's all at ccautoshow.com. And this show is brought to you in part by Napa Heating and Cooling Systems and also NGK Spark Plugs and a whole list of really neat businesses all in the area that that you'll hear about a little bit more during the show. So just we urge you to give them a call and mention to them that you heard about them on the C&C Auto Show. That's always kind of neat for us. And again, that number to call, 706-863-5800. That's Saturday mornings, 8:05 to 10 Eastern Time. And we have a fantastic show lined up, John Ryan.
Yeah, you do. You just told me about it about 6 seconds ago.
Yeah, I keep you totally informed.
Absolutely.
Wait, I sent it on an email last night, didn't I?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I read it.
Oh, okay. That's true. But anyway, the show. This is a show that we have touched on before, and we'll move into it a little deeper this time. But it's one of my favorite shows because I feel like it helps a lot of people out there.
Yeah. And
it is a show that has to do with how to find an automotive shop.
That's right for you.
Yeah, exactly. And people are able to, if people listen to this, they may get some tips where they may already have a shop that they love and go to for on a regular basis, and everything's working out fine.
And have a good relationship with them.
Yes, I think a good relationship, that is number one.
Yeah.
That's you have to have that. And those that have that good relationship like you're talking about, I think that this might be a way to strengthen that relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Because you may find language or things that you can talk about or questions you can ask that may make that relationship even stronger. But some people may have just moved to an area, or they may have just never found a place that they really like to go to and feel comfortable with.
Might be traveling and have an issue also.
Right. We do get that question a lot, don't we?
We do.
People are called and they'll say, my son or my daughter, they're out of town.
We're going to college in this area.
And it just hit me. I was supposed to call somebody yesterday. They called and asked me if that person's listening. I will promise I will.
Apologize first.
Yeah, they were looking for someone in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay.
And they had a relative there. Now, I did tell them that I was driving when they called. I told them that they could go to NapaAutoCare.com or the CCAutoshow.com.
You're going to have a ticket in the mail because it's hands-free.
Well, I don't like to talk about that part. I'm bad about that still. I hadn't quite got the hang of that yet. I use my Bluetooth when I can.
That's right.
But that person, I did tell them to go to NapaAutoCare.com or CCAutoshow.com, and they can find a Napa shop. But he asked me to look through there because I may know someone in that area.
Yeah.
So I will be doing that. So sorry about forgetting to call back yesterday afternoon.
We'll do that on break. How about that?
That would be a good thing for me to do. Okay, now, along with all this other, of course, one of the things that we always like to do is have a tech tip quiz. We'll have that laying on the table, and this may be a quiz that we did not get an answer to last week. So it'll be, someone will be really high on the totem pole if they answer this.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big one. And, of course, we have the tailgate talk with Dominic. So a lot of neat things going on. We'll go ahead and start with the tech tip quiz. And, of course, the winner will receive a prize package, which includes, among other things, a hat and a coffee mug. And I answered the tech tip quiz golf shirt, and here is the quiz. Josiah could not get his car to move. He tried everything. He put he paid an automobile technician $50 for a card, and the card made it where he could move his car. So if anyone knows the answer to our tech tip quiz, that would be a good thing to call in, and you stand a chance of winning all of those wonderful prizes. And you'll be able to go to your family reunion wearing the I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz golf shirt.
I like these, isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's very much like these. And of course, when they go to their family reunion, say, "Wow, he did really
They're normally
well."
the first ones to eat and all that kind of stuff.
They'll say, "Did you know that the Tech Tip Quiz winner is here?"
Yeah.
And everybody be whispering and all that. Okay, let's start the deal off with the tips having to do with finding a shop.
All right.
Okay, now a great tip for finding a shop, and this is one of the number one ways. There's a lot of different ways, but number one, if you're in the area, ask someone that has a car similar to you. You can ask a family member, you can ask friends, you can
Or you can ask the guy with a car exactly like yours.
yeah, or if you see somebody just at a traffic light and tell them to roll down their window, say, "Hey, I got a question." But yeah, that is a good way. In other words, recommendation, word of mouth. That's one of the number one ways that people can find other shops that they like going to.
Right.
So if you're looking for a shop and you say, "Well, I'd love to find a good place to go to that I can communicate with that works on this particular type car," because no doubt, if you drive something like a Mercedes, you would like to go to a shop that that does work on Mercedes.
No doubt GM might be able to take care of it, but ideally you wouldn't take it to a GM dealership or anything like that.
Exactly.
They might be able to handle a flat tire for you or something like that, but for your normal maintenance or your normal big repairs, of course, you would try and take it to a Mercedes dealer or somebody that has the equipment to work on the Mercedes.
Right. And now the way that things are set up now, there's a lot of cases to where a shop that works on many different cars. You may find a shop that works on Fords, works on Chevrolets, but they may also specialize in Mercedes.
Exactly.
And BMWs and a lot of other cars. So it's not like it used to be to where you pretty much had to find someone that only specialized in Mercedes or only specialized in BMWs. A lot of shops specialize in both, but you do want to ask them that question.
Yeah.
Do you work on Mercedes and do you work on BMWs?
Might even fine-tune the question to say, do you have the equipment for Mercedes?
That's an excellent point there.
Because they may work on it, but they may not have the proper equipment.
Right, and you do need, there are different vehicles that need different types of or different types of equipment,
of course,
to go into certain vehicles to be able to do certain things.
Yeah.
So that is a very good point there to make sure that they do have the equipment to do it.
Yeah.
And of course,
the lift rack's a lift rack, essentially.
Right, but traditionally, a lot of the dealerships specialize in that one brand of car.
Of course.
They don't do several different ones.
Yeah, with the exception of if they have a used car lot, there's a lot of the PMs, inspections and whatnot. But you're right, they probably don't necessarily work on them. I mean, if they had an issue with a car and needed to be reflashed, a body control module, of course they wouldn't have that scan tool if it was at a dealership. But
yeah, and it is so asking that question, and then just go by and visit the shop. Once you've had that recommendation, you may visit their website first. Right. And then after you do that, you may make a phone call and see if you communicate well, see if they answer the phone well, and then go by and visit the shop. But a lot of times it'll start with that recommendation.
Yeah, and if it's in an area that you're not familiar with, it's not a bad idea to just kind of ride through there, whether it be at night, and just kind of take a look around and make sure it looks, good to you. That
is an excellent idea. John Ryan, it's time to take a quick break.
It has come quick.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages. And yes, we are back with you on the C&C Auto Show. We're here to answer those questions about your car, truck, or SUV. The number to call, 706-863-5800. That's Saturdays, 8:05 to 10. You just call and lay it on us. You can also watch us live at ccautoshow.com, and you can go different paths to watch or listen or whatever works out good. if you have a spring or a summer trip plan, well, actually now, if you have a fall trip,
Yeah.
if you plan on going to the mountains and visiting and seeing the leaves change, or you want to even, this is still a great time to go to the beach because it's kind of cool, wind blowing on the beach.
Kind of normally do that about this time of year, don't you?
That's when I enjoy going to the beach.
Yeah.
Or if you go to a museum or things like that, just a lot of different things you do. You want to have your car checked out before you go. One of the things you want to look at very closely are things like the belts, the hoses,
Right.
the fluids. But if you do need belts and hoses or a lot of other under the hood items, Napa Auto Care or Napa Auto Care Center is a great place to go if you're planning to have it done. But if you're doing it yourself, you can go pick up those parts at Napa Auto Parts, and that's Napa hoses and belts. They're absolutely fantastic. Want to mention also that when you're looking for an auto repair shop, the things that we talked about before, that was one of the number one on the list. Have a good have a recommendation if possible, and then go to someone that works on that brand of vehicle and ask them if you mentioned the right equipment.
Yeah.
And we mentioned that making sure they have the information.
That's right.
Okay. Are we ready to go to some phone calls?
Yeah, man. Let's go to Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, how in the world are you, and what can we help you with?
Well, I'd like to give the tech tip quiz a shot.
Whoa, wait. John Ryan wants to do something for you first.
Technically, Blue did that.
Okay, here we go. Now, I'm going to read the question one more time. Josiah could not get his car to move. He tried everything. He paid an auto technician $50 for a card, and the card made it to where he could move the car.
I know he
I'll
did.
tell you what you do. You just take them dang old spark plugs out in that little hole. You just put a little oil around there, just like Bobby Unser says. It's like it'd go boom, boom, just like that.
He almost gave the answer to the quiz, John Ryan.
It wasn't right, though.
He didn't get that one. Hey, Jeff, you get another shot at it, though. He didn't get it right.
Okay.
What's the answer?
Well, I think he gave him $50 and bought a roadside service card, so AAA or Good Sam, somebody like that, could come and move his car.
Oh, Jeff. Jeff. Man, I'm so sorry.
That's probably the better answer.
Yeah, yours is probably closer to right than any other one. But the main thing is you will get a, what can he get as a door prize or whatever you get?
I don't know. Those coffee mugs are pretty sweet.
You know the new PC type stuff, Jeff, everybody's supposed to win. You're never supposed to tell somebody, no, you didn't get this.
That's true.
So you, what would you think?
I mean, I think a minimal coffee mug because they're awesome. Everybody goes
You wanna
crazy
do
over
that?
that. Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right, we'll do that. Hey, Jeff, you give us a call on Monday and you say, I'm Jeff, and we're going to get you a coffee mug.
All right, I'll give you a call. But I know I got one of those cards for my twins when they went off to college, and I thought, man, that's going to save me money because they're driving two old cars off to college.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, I'm going to get that call, hey, Dad, the car won't start.
You know what you're doing, Jeff? You not only, you deserve that coffee mug because not only did you call and take it like a man when you didn't get it, and John Ryan gave you the foghorn,
Dominic.
but you are giving us a great tip along with that to if you have a relative or a friend going off somewhere, a great going away gift is a card that they can have their car maintained. And you could stick $100, $200, and name those cards one more time, Jeff, for me, so we'll have those.
Well, there's Good Sam or AAA or any service, roadside service.
Napa
card
Auto
like
Care
that.
would be a good one. Synchrony makes a
Napa
card.
Auto Care.
Napa Auto Care is all around the country. Hey, Jeff, great. Thank you for adding that tip in there for us.
I think we should even let them fill that coffee cup up.
I believe so, too. We're going to fill that cup full when you get here, Jeff.
All right, I'll give you a call Monday. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. You ready to go to another one there?
We are. Let's do it. Yes, we are ready. Let's do it.
Let's squeeze Billy in. How about that?
Hey, Billy, jump on in here, man.
Guys.
It's a little
Hey, good
tight in
morning,
here,
Greg.
but we're going to let you in.
Yeah. All right. Well, I only have one question I wanted to ask about the tech tip quiz before I tried to give it an answer.
Sure.
Did he drive the car off, or did somebody else drive the car off?
Let me think for just a second. He got in and moved the car.
Okay. All right. So the card that the technician sold him was an OnStar card, so that they could unlock the car and bypass the theft system.
Oh, and there was a card, and actually he gave him an OnStar card with a friend of his that worked at OnStar, so that he could call that number and say, "Listen, can you take care of this for me?"
I wish I had
Sounds
foghorn
like a pretty
for him.
good answer.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna get the foghorn, but at least it was worth.
Well, you might not actually, Jeff, because it.
John Ryan has lost the foghorn.
No, it's messed up, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, Billy, the foghorn has left the building, so we're not able to do that yet.
Yeah, stand by.
Hey, hold on one second there, Billy. And you don't have a tip to go along with yours or anything, do you, like Jeff did?
The only tip I can tell you is to keep the maintenance up on your car and keep the electronics updated on it, because I got a new car and I have to take it in every 2 months for them to update the transmission, electronics, and stuff like that. So
what kind's that one, Billy?
up on your car.
That must be a Windows based.
Yeah. What kind of vehicle is it?
It's a Kia Sorento SX with a 8-speed automatic.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's made by Bill Gates, and so you have to get an update every week.
Right up there outside going into Alabama, right outside of Georgia.
Wow.
Billy, thank you very much. Wait, John Ryan's got something for you real quick.
Oh, wow.
We didn't want to let you down.
You know what's cool, though? You know what's really cool?
What?
Is I've already won the tech tip quiz twice. So,
Billy. Oh, man.
A foghorn don't hurt me.
No, you're like a shield, man. You got it.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Billy, thank you for the tip, and thank you for the call. Time to take a real quick break, and we will be back just after these messages.
Now his guitar's Cadillac, hillbilly music, lonely, lonely streets that I call home.
And we are back with you on the C&C Auto Show, and we are here to take your phone calls. Number to call, 706-863-5800, and you just give us a call, and I am putting him on the spot. I don't know if he has one or not. He does have one. Dominic does have a tailgate talk for us. And what is it?
Aaron, I got some good news for the hybrid lovers who also want a pickup truck.
Oh.
We've seen Chevrolet and Dodge Ram pickup trucks have come out with mild hybrid versions of their trucks. Ford is now joining the mix with an F-150 hybrid. It's expected to launch for the 2021 model year. It's also being launched alongside a Ford Mustang hybrid.
Oh, wow.
Now, they haven't released too many details on these powertrains yet, but one thing that they have confirmed about the F-150 is that it does have an outlet to run a generator on a work site. So it's still going to be a work truck.
Wow, that is kind of neat. Very neat and great tailgate talk. John Ryan. More stuff we need to go to school for.
Yeah.
It never stops. Okay, where are we going?
Let's go over to Robert.
Robert, welcome to the C&C Auto Show. And what can we help you with?
Well, good morning. You guys have helped me several times in the past, either online or in your shops. But I've got a question concerning one of the vehicles, and that's and I need an education on brake rotors and pads. And I need to tell you what I'm really looking for. What I'm driving is a 35 Chevy Express van with an RV on the back, 3500 chassis.
You've got a 2035?
A 3500 chassis, cutaway chassis.
Oh, okay.
RV,
okay.
And I tow it Subaru.
Okay.
And for many, many years I've towed going over all the mountain ranges in the West and the Appalachians. And I know how to eyeballs when I go down those grades. I always go down in the lower gears and don't ride the brakes.
Gotcha.
Just happen to keep them from the rotors from warping. Well, this summer I was on some grades up in Vermont and New Hampshire. Steep grades like I've never been on before, from 7 to 13%. But what made them really bad was the fact that there were narrow back roads and they had some severe S curves in them, so you really had to get on the brakes. as a result, I severely warped those rotors
Uh-huh.
to the extent that I could hardly hold on to the steering wheel. It was so violent.
Oh, wow.
So I need to put some new rotors on, and I've been doing some research online, and I see there's all kinds there's, I guess, composite ceramic rotors and pads, drilled and slotted, and there's cheap ones and expensive ones. So what I guess I'm looking for is some advice as to what to put on those front rotors.
Well, I know how to fix it, Robert, but I don't know that your wife would like it. My suggestion would be put her in the Subaru, and she can slow it down, and then you slow that one down so all the brakes are working.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, I do have the Subaru has a braking kit in it. I mean, when I apply the brakes, it's got a little pneumatic pump that pushes on the brake pedal, and I can see on the monitor in the cab when it's on. Okay, so it's assisting.
Okay, good. You're right. There are millions of different options as far as, rotors availability, the companies that make them and everything. I do think that would be a case. Normally we would say, vented rotors that wouldn't necessarily benefit the average driver, but something like what you're experiencing, I do feel like it would benefit.
Get rid of that heat.
Yeah, it would dissipate the heat a lot faster because it gives it just that much more surface area to, of course, escape the cavities that the holes create, and then of course the slots that they create. So I've used the power stop ones in the past. I actually had that on one of my trucks before. I was very happy with that. Now there's several different companies that make them. Those are just the ones that I've had dealings with.
Now, what year model truck was this again?
That's one of the ones I'm looking at, a power stop printout that I made with drilled and slotted and, of course, vented.
Right.
But I've also seen that some reviewers say that the holes in the slots, the holes will actually weaken the rotor, and the slots will actually eat up your pads.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a misconception, just simply because the slots are tapered. So, we can actually machine those on a brake lathe. So, they don't actually make the pads wear any faster. The slot or the holes themselves, they're kind of, they're a very small hole. So, of course, no doubt you are losing that material as far as surface area for the pads to stop on, but they're kind of strategically placed to where it doesn't allow the rotor to deflect. Because, of course, that's kind of the whole purpose of the slotted and drilled rotors is to not warp. So, of course, if they drilled a million holes in it, yeah, they'd warp really fast, but they're not they are designed to have holes in them to where they still wouldn't warp because the surface material is actually a good bit thicker also.
Okay. Well, that was one of my first choices there, and I just wanted to check that.
And Robert, two quick things that I want to mention on there also. So many times when people feel their front rotors, especially if they're looking at their front,
right.
So when my front rotors keep getting out around, they tend to not spend as much time as they should on the rear also, because the rear are very important to take the load, some of the load off of the front. So I've had many cases where somebody has said, well, I've replaced 3 sets of front pads and I hadn't had to put any back pads on there. Well, sometimes the back pads can get so crystallized and hard to where they're really not applying a stopping power.
Yeah, they're physically grabbing, but
and
not
it's all going on the front. So I want to mention that. Just pay special attention to the rear also. And the next thing is doing that type driving. You're building up a lot of heat on the brake fluid. You want to make sure you use a really high-quality brake fluid, and when it needs to be flushed, have it flushed, because it wouldn't take very much moisture in brake fluid to cause your brake fluid to boil in those type temperatures. And
I got a tip, Aaron, that you're going to flip out about.
Lay it on me, man. What is it?
Proper lug nut torquing.
Amazing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Robert, that would be one thing absolutely to just keep in mind. Matter of fact, I would hand torque them. I mean, of course, we use torque sticks that are very, very accurate. But on a situation like this, being a camper that you've had the pulsating problem, when you get those new rotors installed, of course, the whole brake job and all that, definitely torque those wheels.
Yes.
I believe those are 140, but, of course, the manual or shop manual would tell you exactly that.
Great tip.
Okay. Well, thank you. Just a question, Aaron, going back to the rear wheels. I assume the rotors are probably okay on those wheels, but you're suggesting this checking or redoing the pads?
Well, if the pads are worn and they have not been replaced in a while, they could be crystallized. So check them for it to see if they
Heat
may be
cracking,
crystallized,
that kind
heat
of
cracking,
stuff, yeah.
things like that. But also on the rear rotors, I would definitely mic them. If they're close, I would go ahead and replace them at the same time.
Or is this a single rear wheel or dual?
It's a dual.
Dual. The only thing, see, there's so many things that are kind of involved in the brake job. Typically, you would machine the rotors, of course, which on that particular vehicle is actually somewhat difficult, even to use an on-car brake lathe, simply because of the size of the vehicle, and not many lift racks can, of course, lift that up. So normal procedure would be replace those rotors. The only unfortunate part is the axle has to come out. And I mean the axle shaft. I don't mean the whole differential or anything. The axle shaft has to come out. There's a hub that, of course, the rotors are fastened to actually through the lug studs. So you have to kind of press the lug studs back out and then put the new rotor on there, press them back on. So the rear is definitely a bigger brake job. But if you catch it before, the brakes start really wearing into the rotors, those have been some of the brakes that you can get by with just putting
If you
pads
mic
on.
them and they're thick enough, which they're pretty thick from the factory. So if you mic them and they're thick enough, you may decide just to put a set of pads on those.
Okay.
Which with a normal
Right.
car that has serviceable rotors that literally slide off, of course, we would automatically recommend machining them. But because of the type brake system you have, you'd be okay to put just pads as long as the rotors themselves had plenty of thickness.
Okay. Very good. So in this case, these are a little higher priced rotors
Right.
from the Power Stroke, but I think they're well worth it in my case.
I will tell you that I was very pleased with mine. Very pleased. I had 37-inch tires on mine, and it was the same thing. I would constantly warp rotors. I put those on there, and I actually sold that truck with those rotors on there. So they did me well.
Very good. Well, thanks again for your help and for the program.
All right.
Robert, great question, and thank you very much for calling. And the number to call is 706-863-5800. That's Saturday mornings, 8:05 to 10. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we are going straight to Billy, and he has a question for us. We'll be right back after these messages.
I've been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel. There's a voice in my head that drives my heel.
And we are back with you with the C&C Auto Show. And for all of you that work on your cars and want to know more about your car, I have some great news. NTK Sensor Specialists just released 25 new training videos on their YouTube channel. And these high-quality videos, they cover everything from accelerator pedal position sensors to washer fluid level sensors. And that's all at the NGK Spark Plug YouTube channel. You would really enjoy watching those videos. I watched some of them the other day, and they're really good. If you have a question about your car, truck, or SUV, you give us a call Saturday morning, 706-863-5800. That's between the hours of 8:05 and 10. That's any Saturday morning. And John Ryan, who are we going to talk to?
Next up's going to be Billy.
Hey, Billy, welcome to the show, and what can we help with?
Hey guys, I got a 2008 Chevy Express van, and you noted every one of them, the paint peeled off the hood.
Naturally.
And I went to the dealership and asked them why this is happening. And of course, I got a lot of stories. But anyway, they told me that I should prime it with a lacquer primer, and then buy the automotive paint to finish it with. But to stop it from peeling, I'd have to put insulation underneath the hood, which is going to make my motor run hot. That didn't even sound plausible to me because, it runs at a 180 now. If you put insulation on there and blow all that heat down, it's probably going to go to 220 or 230, and that's way too hot. So what's the answer? Put some vents in it and let it suck air down in there?
Yeah, put a big cowl induction hood on there, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Billy, I've heard several things along those same lines. I've heard that the primer wasn't the proper primer for the hood, as far as self-etching or something like that. I don't remember the technical term for it. I've heard that. I've heard that it was due to heat. But I will say we've popped a lot of hoods, and some of them are hotter than the others, and that one's rarely hot. So I've always been confused by that too. I did have a customer that actually took the proper duct tape, the reflective tape that you would typically tape a HVAC duct up with. And he took that tape and just taped the whole bottom side of it, had the van repainted, and he's still driving it today. And of course he does heating and air, obviously, and it still isn't peeling or anything like that. So I don't know if that may be the ticket to fixing that. It does seem to have worked for him.
Right.
And, it's not necessarily insulation. It's just kind of directing the heat, being that it's more like tinfoil.
GM does make a kit for those too, to where you can buy a kit that goes in insulation. Now, the item that John Ryan's talking about is probably less expensive than the kit
I
that
got
they
a
have.
roll of it in there in the shop right now where you peel the back of it off.
That's right. Really sticky stuff. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I heard the same thing, that it had to do with primer also, that it wasn't the right primer for the metal.
Yeah, I'm not much on paint, but I think it was something about the self-etching primer or something like that.
Billy, would that be a really good question? Maybe someone from a paint and body industry, we may get them to call in and we'll ask that question. If they don't, we'll shoot for getting a paint and body person on the radio.
I'm gonna put him on the spot. I think Charles Goen should call in and tell us what we can do for that.
So we have people that we talk to having to do with things like that. So so hopefully someone will have some other ideas. But right now you have two: the factory GM insulation, and John Ryan mentioned the tape.
Right. Well, I'm a paint contractor by trade, but I don't do cars. I do houses. So,
I was say I don't think blue painter's tape would work either.
Yeah.
Right. No, that blue tape ain't gonna work. Let me give a shot at the tech tip quiz.
Okay, we're ready for you, Billy. Hold on.
You just said we're ready, and then told him hold on.
Billy, I'm going to do something really quick. I'm going to read the question real quick. Josiah could not get his car to move. He tried everything. He paid an automobile technician $50 for a card, and the card made it where he could move the car. What kind of card was it? Okay, we're ready.
It was a card to run a diagnostics on the engine, so it could take the error messages and correct them, and the car would crank and he could drive it.
So maybe an update car. Billy, sorry.
That's all right.
Good answer, though.
Yeah, great answer.
I hope somebody calls in about the paint job.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Hopefully. So you gave the listeners a tech tip.
Quiz. Thank you, guys.
All right, Billy.
Thank you, Billy. John Ryan, where we're going?
Steve is next.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show. And what can we help with?
Good morning. Good morning. I got a 2000 Ford Explorer. Does that vehicle, does it have a what you call it, electronic fuel injection on it?
Yes, it does.
Well, why is it when every time I crank it, I have to, when I hit the key the first time, it won't crank. I have to pat the gas and then hit the key again, and then it cranks.
Does it run pretty good after that? It seems to idle okay, nice and smooth.
Yeah.
No check engine lights on or anything like that?
I do have a check engine light that came on, and I mean, we had, I took it down to Aaron's one time, and they ran diagnostics on it and said it was the plug wires and everything, and they put new plug wires and all that in it.
Right.
And the check engine light was off, and now it's come back on.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what the issue is with the check engine light now. The reason I asked that question is there's a lot of emissions equipment on that vehicle that can cause that. That vehicle has an evaporative emissions system that basically reburns the fuel vapors that are in the tank. And most common kind of concern with those particular vehicles is exactly what you said after filling up. When you fill up the fuel level or fill up the fuel tank, and of course the fuel level rises, it's pumping a lot of vapors and sometimes even raw fuel into the engine. And when, of course, you get in it, try and crank it up, and it's like an old carbureted car that was flooded. You cycle the key, kind of clear it out, and now it runs beautiful. So knowing the code would definitely help a technician kind of give you a little bit more information on that. That is the first thing that comes to mind. The other thing would be a fuel pump with some wear on it. If it didn't quite have
back into the tank a little bit.
Right. If it didn't, the fuel line from the tank to the engine should maintain about 40 psi pretty much all the time. And then when you switch the key on, it raises it about 20 more PSI for it to run. So if it was bleeding back to the tank, it takes that extra, second or key cycle to, of course, build the fuel pressure
Steve,
up.
it could be something as simple as just a dirty throttle body, not letting a proper amount of air come into the engine.
And
when
IAC.
Yeah, when you're
idle air
giving it a
control
little bit of gas, it lets more air in. So there's a lot of simple things that can do that, but it could be something as complicated as a sensor or a fuel pump.
Okay. Well, I guess I should bring it down and let you run the diagnostics again on it and see what's going on.
Yeah, if a vehicle's been worked on, doing the initial diagnostics, there's no charge to run that. If you still have a problem on something, there's not a charge to run it again if it's within even a reasonable amount of time. That we just run the test again and find out. Now, there may be another part that's needed, but the testing, there wouldn't be a charge.
It's probably been about a month.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, bring it in, man.
Yeah.
I'll bring it on back down.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Steve, thank you very much for the call. Great. Hey, John Ryan, you want to let's go to Bill? And
Yeah, we might have to put him on hold, but let's go to him.
Hey, Bill, welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and what can we help you with?
I was going to try to get you to warm up the foghorn again because I got a guest for you and also got a question. So I don't know
wow.
take a minute.
Okay, we are going to be ready. And Bill, you're on stage. We are ready for the answer to today's Tech Tip Quiz.
$50 gas card.
Oh, $50 gas. Oh, that's not bad.
I'd like one of those, by the way.
Yeah. That's not it, though.
$5 for the gas, but 50 would be nice.
Uh-huh.
50 is at least a half tank.
And what's the question real quick? That way we might be able to get time to get that done also.
Oh, yes, sir. Looking to deal with leprosy on the front of a Toyota Camry, 15 years old, where you get hit by little rocks. You're flying down the road and you get a little chip that starts out the size of a fruit fly and it winds up looking more like a cockroach.
Yeah.
It kind of grows as you go. You don't want to do an entire paint job for what looks like freckles, but at the same time, you don't want them to get out of control. I don't know if y'all deal with that kind of thing or if you know somebody who does.
Well, just a real quick tip on that. If it's only on the very front of it, that car would look good with one of those leather covers on the front.
Oh, yeah. Those, they actually, what would they call those? Bras, weren't they?
Bra. Yeah. You could put a bra on the front of that thing, Bill, and be fine.
Be styling. Smiling.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, do you mind holding through the break and we'll kind of give you some suggestions?
Not a problem.
All right.
Good, y'all.
Yeah, we are going to take a real quick break. It's time to pull over. Time clock's on E. We need to pull over. I'm Aaron Clements, co-host John Ryan Mooney, show producers Dominic Frito, Sandy Klein, technical engineer Zach Llewellyn. We'd all like to say thank you very much for tuning in and logging in to the C&C Auto Show, and we'll be back shortly with a fresh hour. Hello, all of you wonderful car lovers out there, and welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and I'm Aaron Clements.
I'm John Ryan.
And we are here to share some info that will make your car, truck, or SUV safer, to make it more dependable, and to make it last longer for less money and less hassle. And we want to say thank you to each and every one of you that logged in or tuned in. We appreciate you jumping in and riding with us on the C&C Auto Show. We're here to take those phone calls. That's Saturday mornings, 8:05 to 10 Eastern Time, 706-863-5800. You can also go to ccautoshow.com and watch the show live. You can also email your question or watch past shows at that same spot. That's all at ccautoshow.com. And this show is brought to you in part by Napa Heating and Cooling Systems and also NGK Spark Plugs, both fantastic companies. It's also brought to you by a lot of other companies that you'll hear about during the show. Number again to join the fun, 706-863-5800, 8:05 to 10 Eastern Time. We got a fantastic show going on. We're talking about how to find a shop that you like. We've been talking about paint. We've been just all sorts of good things. And we got some callers waiting, so are we ready?
Yeah, we are. We're going to go back to Bill. Now, Bill was with us on the last hour. So, Bill, if you could, just repeat your question, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I was wondering how y'all would approach a problem what I call little freckles on the front of your car. They get bigger and bigger. You take a chip, from a rock or something like that, and it starts out real small, like BB size, and then just gradually grows from there. It's an older car, so I don't want to throw on a $2,000 paint job, but at the same time, I don't want it to look like the car's got advanced leprosy up front with rust spots getting bigger and bigger.
And Bill, what kind of car did you mention?
2001 Toyota Camry with 240,000 miles on it, doing fine.
So we figured out why it has that many chips on it.
Oh yeah.
You
like
know,
40,000 miles a year, all kind of conditions. So you get them, that's for sure.
that's right. Yeah, you know, it's funny you mentioned that car because those cars are kind of common for that, believe it or not. I don't know if it has a lot to do with the front aerodynamics. To a lot of cars are designed to not necessarily push things away from them, but the body lines kind of create different air forces that don't allow stuff to hit the front of them. But those cars were pretty popular for freckles, I guess, like you say. As far as like what we could do after this, of course, we
mentioned the bra on the front.
Yeah.
The leather covering on there.
Yeah.
And that would be one option to think about. But on a Camry, I'm not sure if that would look right.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, if it was a maybe
Mustang, whatever, something.
Yeah, a lot of other cars. So a Camry may not necessarily look just right.
Right.
So really, the only other option would be having to do with paint.
Yeah. Bill, keep in mind there's very economical single stage paint jobs out there that are very inexpensive, and then there's some of the more fancy ones like what you're of course talking about, the higher end paint jobs. So even if you could kind of find one somewhere in between there, and of course get a solid color on there, it may not be totally out of budget. Because some of them, can run from the $650 to $1,000 range, for a blend. But hopefully we're gonna believe Carroll Proctor should call pretty soon, so he might have the answer. Bill, how about this? We're gonna put you on hold. Carroll may address those issues for you, and then we'll touch base with you here in a second.
Yeah, we have a paint person that ready to go to the call.
Yeah, let's go straight to Carroll.
Hey, Carroll, welcome to the C&C Auto Show. And you're here to help us. Is that correct?
That's what I'm doing, Aaron. I'm trying to help you.
Here's what we have.
Bad connection. You're kind of scratchy here.
We have two questions, Carroll. We had one gentleman, that was Jeff.
Bill.
Bill. Well, we had Jeff before him, didn't we?
No, it's two Bills.
Okay, two Bills. Okay, we have Bill that's got a Toyota Camry that has the chips that have been hitting the hood. And
Stone chips.
Trying to come up with some ideas for him. And also we have a Chevrolet Express van that had a paint issue to where the paint was
peeling off the hood,
peel off due to heat, which we see both of those actually they're fairly common. You have any recommendations?
Well, I'll take the easy one first.
All right.
Of course, rock chips. Any vehicle, whether it's a Mercedes or a Suzuki, is going to get rock chips.
Right.
It depends on the road you travel. If you're traveling a lot of roads that have a lot of construction or gravel trucks and things like that, and get a lot of debris on them, you're going to get a lot of rock chips on it. And there's really, we tell people all day long, if it's just the rock chips that are upsetting you, leave them alone. Because if you spend the money to paint it, the rock chips are going to get right back on it.
That's true.
There are some clear chip protected coatings that 3M makes that people do put on their front bumper covers and hoods and the front of the fenders. And now it's becoming a norm that they put the clear protectant on the entire hood.
Okay.
That stuff can range anywhere from $500 to $1,000.
And Carroll, that's almost like a vinyl product, right? That's not something that's sprayed out of a gun?
No, it is not sprayed. It is a clear,
kind of like window tint, like a film.
Chip protectant. Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
So that's one option for them.
And then the Express van.
Mm-hmm.
General Motors, all manufacturers have had their problems with paint, of course I haven't seen it, so I'm guessing, but there are some problems with some of the General Motors products and the Express vans. We just done one for a customer a few weeks ago, that there was a problem with the primer, and the UV rays go through the clear coat and through the color, and they cause the primer substrate to start breaking down, and that causes the paint to start just peeling off in sheets.
Yep.
And really the only solution to that is you have to strip the panel of bare metal, re-prime it, or you have to re-e-coat it with an epoxy-based type primer, and then put a good sealer primer on it, and then a base coat and a clear coat. And doing the steps properly, it should eliminate the problem, and they should never have another problem with it again.
So you do feel like it's more of a paint primer issue rather than heat, it's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah.
We've heard more paint issue, and then a lot of people say it's due to the engine heat. But like I mentioned to Aaron, the roof of the van got this, it's getting the same temperature, especially in direct sun. So I've never really seen a roof peel.
It's not a heat issue as far as external heat or engine heat. No,
right.
It is a it is a primary issue. The paint companies and everything, and it's a long story. If I was on the air with y'all, I could go into it, but it's some things that go back to what the paint manufacturers call VOCs, volatile organic compounds. And the manufacturers of the cars are only allowed so many VOCs per car manufactured.
Gotcha.
So to cut down on the number of VOCs, they cut out some steps in the paint
atmosphere.
Yeah.
So,
well, Carroll, I think that did it, didn't
short
it?
answers.
Yeah.
Well, that was very good. So we got answers for both of those people, and Carroll, we really do appreciate you joining us.
If either one of them would like to come by the office of the shop and look at it and give them a firsthand explanation of what's going on, we'll be more than happy to look at it for them and confirm what I'm guessing that the problem is.
Fantastic.
Carroll, I thought you were going to say the issue with the peeling was because you did not paint it.
No, not going to say that.
No, I'm teasing you.
Carroll, we appreciate
Thanks, Carroll.
Y'all
it.
have a nice day, and go Dogs.
All right.
Yes. And that's Carroll Proctor with AC Proctor, very knowledgeable on paint, and he's
right.
helped us out a lot with those.
Let's go back to Bill and make sure that answered his question.
Bill, did that help a little bit?
Very much. I just need to find out where they are. I'll check it out. That sounds great.
Milledgeville Road in Augusta, Georgia, but I'm not sure the exact
address. Yeah.
Hey, you can go to you can Google that, AC Proctor.
It's GPS time. Proctor, Procte.
OR.
That work? Thank y'all very much.
All right, Bill.
Thank you.
Let's,
John Ryan, we're going to have to...
Let's at least tell John he's going to be next up.
Let's do that.
He's been waiting for us. So,
hey, John, this is Aaron with the C&C Auto Show. Listen, we're going to ask for a big favor. Would you mind holding on just a little bit so we can take a real quick commercial break, and then we'll be coming right back to you?
And we're all
I'll
ears.
be here.
All right, fantastic. We're going to put you on hold just for a little bit, and we're going to be taking that break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Just an old half-ton short bed Ford my uncle bought new in '64. Daddy got it right.
And we are back with you on the C&C Auto Show, and this segment is brought to you by Napa Heating and Cooling Systems, and we trust Napa parts, Napa Heating and Cooling System parts a huge amount, and you should also. You'll find they fit, they last, and they do well. Can't beat them. Okay, John Ryan.
We told John we'd go straight to him.
We sure did. We promised him, and we will do exactly what we said. John, welcome to the show, and what can we help you with?
Good morning, gentlemen. I have a 2013 Toyota Corolla. It has 100,000 miles on it. Those miles have been accumulated over a period of 5 years, and 90% of those miles are pure highway miles. From this point forward, with that type of time, mileage, and driving conditions, at what mileage increment would you recommend one of the brake flushes that you spoke of earlier?
It's never been done before, John?
No, never has. That's factory original.
I'd say Monday.
Okay.
One thing that is kind of the process as far as to give you a better answer is, of course, brake fluid is hydroscopic, so it absorbs moisture. So there's a test strip that a technician would put in there, and it changes different colors. If it's pink, it doesn't show much moisture. If it's almost purple, it shows a lot of moisture. So obviously, it would still be a good idea to do it just based on the mileage. But say you put it in there and there was very, very little moisture, if any. Of course, obviously, it could go longer, but the thing is that brake fluid, like you mentioned, has been in there for some time, 100,000 miles. It still has done its job. It's still a hydraulic fluid that needs to be serviced. So, you might put the brake strip in there and it might have a lot of moisture in there, which of course would indicate do it as fast as possible. So I think that's kind of the answer to the question, determining how much moisture is in the brake fluid.
Okay, and that flushes out the wheel cylinders and everything, right?
It does, yeah. It's a really neat machine. It has of course, a cap that goes on the master cylinder itself. You actually remove all the fluid that's in the master cylinder, and of course, the machine replenishes it, fills it all the way back up, and then it puts about 5 to 10 psi on top of the master cylinder. And just like bleeding brakes, you go the furthest wheel from the master cylinder, so that'd be passenger rear, driver rear, passenger front, and then driver front. by bleeding the brakes. You open up the bleeder screw, and of course there's a suction hose, so you've got pressure on the master cylinder, you got suction on the wheel cylinder side and the calipers, and it, of course, flushes that out. Some vehicles we do recommend also, if they have an ABS pump, we can actually actuate the pump with a scan tool to, of course, just allow that much more fluid to escape from the valving assembly.
And it does get all of the air out. We had a Chevrolet truck here last week.
Chevrolet trucks are
We
notorious.
bled and bled because the customer really wasn't there for a brake flush. They were there for a component that we replaced, and the brake fluid didn't look that terrible. But we worked on it, but finally we went ahead and hooked the flush machine up to it, and boom, it just got all of the air out. And
Yeah, because when you pump the pedal, of course, no doubt it creates hydraulic pressure, but it doesn't create the volume that the machine is. The volume comes from the pressure. So the further the fluid goes through the system, of course, the more air it gets out of the system.
And of course, one good thing about getting any moisture that's in the system out is moisture is what causes corrosion. And
Especially with all the
corrosion
dissimilar
helps to
metals.
cause the valve assembly issues to stick. And then you're getting that old gunky fluid out that's close to the wheels where it's gotten real hot and gunky inside the calipers or wheel cylinders. And then one of the main things, though, is you're getting any moisture out, because moisture, when it gets really, really hot, can boil.
That's right.
And that can cause the brake pedal to fade in extreme circumstances, like going down a mountain.
Well, extreme circumstance also, of course, rust and deterioration inside the valve assembly.
All right.
What can I expect to pay for that service?
That service runs roughly $135 plus tax.
And that would be the
great.
BG brake
Thanks,
system.
guys.
Yeah.
And that'll vary from place to place a little bit, but on average, that's with the upgraded BG brake fluid.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, John, good
Great.
luck.
Fantastic call. Okay, the number to call is 706-863-5800 if you have a question about your car, truck, or SUV. And we are talking about things having to do with finding a shop. And, of course, one of the things you want to look at when you're looking for a shop is find out if they have certification, ASE certification displayed, and that their technicians are certified, and also in what areas. The certifications are normally mention whether a person is certified in brakes, alignments, drivability, and different things. And that may not necessarily say, yeah, there's no question that that's a great technician. But if the technician takes the time to go take the test and get certified, for instance, John Ryan and I are both ASE Master certified technicians. We've taken all of the tests having to do with the cars.
And I hate them.
Yeah, they're a little rough to take, but if they given that commitment, that means that they're at least serious about what they're doing. And we'll mention one other thing before going to the calls, is I do want to mention something about warranties. You want to find out what the warranty is that a shop normally offers on most of
their
its
standard
repairs.
warranty. Yep.
For instance, ours is 3 years, 36,000 miles on most items.
Yeah.
And that's a nationwide warranty. And actually, you can go to any Napa Auto Care center in the country, which, what is it, 16,000?
And it's probably more than that. I don't know. We'll check into that.
Yeah, and you can go to different places, and you can have these. If someone puts an alternator on your vehicle here, or you're able to go to a different. If you had a problem and you were in Texas, would you be able to have that alternator covered under the warranty? And of course, you want to know that when you get the job done, because that may make a difference. Because
ideally before you get the job done.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is price is not always the only thing that you should look at when you're choosing a repair facility. Price is important because you want to, if there's.
I'll just give you an example of one. Let's just take a cooling fan, for example. Cooling fan, of course, has a fan blade. It has a motor on it and an assembly. Sometimes you may get a really, really good price, but it's only the motor. And come to find out, you got a cracked fan blade, so the job's not done properly, versus spending a little bit extra and getting the entire cooling fan assembly.
Mm-hmm. And so you want to know what all's involved and what type warranty is involved that you have with that. And is the warranty parts and labor? And the item that you're getting, is it a remanufactured part? Which on many, many cars, a remanufactured alternator is absolutely fine. Remanufactured starter, many cars
as long as it's by a quality remanufacturer.
If it's a good quality type manufacturer. But for instance, there are some items like we personally don't use remanufactured water pumps or remanufactured master cylinders. There's certain items that we want to be new, but you want to know whether your parts is new or used. You want to know what the warranty is on the part that you're getting. And it's time to take a real quick break. When we return, we'll be going to those phone calls, and we'll be right back after these messages. And that's right. We are back with you on the C&C Auto Show, and we do have a tailgate talk with Dominic, but just before we do that, we need to lay a tech tip quiz out on the table because we have promised that we would do that, and we will be going straight to the tech tip quiz any second now. Here we go. Okay, now we got it. Okay, here is today's tech tip quiz. Josiah could not get his car to move. He tried everything. He paid an automobile technician $50 for a card, and the card made it where he could move his car. What card was it? And if you know the answer to our tech tip quiz, you just may be a winner. And that is huge because you'll get the hat or the coffee mug and the I Answered the C&C Auto Show shirt, which is huge. Okay, now we are almost ready for the tailgate talk, but before we do, we have to bring Dominic up.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sitting here wondering what you're talking about.
Okay, Dominic, we're ready for a tailgate talk.
I was lost.
All right. So everybody knows President Trump spoke to the United Nations General Assembly recently, and one of the more humorous items, I guess, if you will, from that was that he was almost laughed out of the assembly for some of the comments that he made. More importantly, on the automotive side, he also debuted the new Beast limousine. And what a lot of people really probably don't understand about the Beast is it looks just like your normal Cadillac sedan. Well, Cadillac limousine, it's a lot longer. But it's actually built, well, the old one, I should say. Of course, you know, this car is classified. You can't really talk about the details of the current one. But the old car that was created in 2009 was built on a Chevy 2-ton platform, which was under the Kodiak and the top kick. And it's got the rear doors on it are a foot thick because they're armored.
Wow. So, and then the new design, they hadn't talked about the new design that much yet.
They didn't, but it, of course, you know, it did get updated with all the new Cadillac design trends.
Wow.
And speaking of Cadillac, they did also decide to move the Cadillac headquarters from New York back to Detroit.
Okay.
All right.
There is our tailgate talk. Okay, John Ryan, we have a phone call. Where are we going to?
Let's go to Pete.
Pete, welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and what can we help you with today?
Hey, I think I can name the card.
Tech tip, man.
Okay, hold on. We need to put you on stage. Pete, you're on stage. What is the answer to today's tech tip quiz?
A AAA card.
That's not bad. You know, Pete, you bringing that up now, that is that's one of the things that we had listed as one of the things that when you're looking for a good auto repair facility is what type of associations are they associated with or involved in. And, of course, AAA is a very good company. We're a AAA repair facility. But that is a good thing to do because in most AAA repair facilities, you get certain things like free inspections, you get certain discounts, and there are certain things that any shop that's a AAA approved, they have a lot of different guidelines they have to go by.
Right.
And they have to be able to supply a certain amount of reviews that a person has had, not necessarily Google reviews, but a certain number of reviews. So that is a great answer, but unfortunately, it's not the right one.
I'm glad you could spin it for.
But Pete, you did a great service to people of naming another item that people can go to find a shop that's right for them. So that's really good.
Right, well, thank you. Enjoy listening.
Hey, Pete, we appreciate you calling. Another thing that we hadn't talked about yet would be AAA. Now, I'm sorry, not AAA, BBB.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Better Business Bureau, and they're another company that you can call if you've done your initial research on companies, and someone gives you a referral and says this is the shop that takes care of my particular vehicle. Then going to the Better Business Bureau and looking on their website and finding out if it's a shop that's been that has a lot of good positive or a rating. I think we're like A+.
Yeah, that's right.
And a good business would be like A+ rated, and then you're able to get an idea that they have handled talking with their customers.
They have what it takes. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't have any issues in that part of it. Another thing that's good along those same lines has to do with reviews. Of course, going to Google and going to their reviews, and you can look over the reviews that they have.
Right.
And it's a good idea for them to be at least above 4.
Right.
You can get an idea. Now, you have to read through that because no matter what the company,
every
there's
company's
going
got
to
some
be
bad ones.
some good, some bad. And matter of fact, it looks kind of realistic when there's a few in there.
Yeah.
But you want them to have a good rating, and you can get the feel of that company by going in and looking and reading through some of their reviews as you go. So that's always a very good thing to do there as far as that part goes. And the sometimes people ask me, when is a good time to look for a repair facility? And of course,
before your car's broken down would be a good idea.
When you don't need them, that's by far the very best time to look for a repair facility. If you wait until you have something really big that your car needs, then you have to make a snap decision. If for some reason the place where you're at mentions something and you don't feel comfortable with what they're saying, but you can't drive the car, or you would have to have it towed somewhere to be able to have the work done, then you pretty much many times have to make a decision that you may not necessarily want to make.
Exactly.
So you find the shop that you enjoy working with before you have that emergency, and then that way it takes a lot of the stress out of the job when you're able to talk with the shop and not have to wonder if they're telling you the truth or wonder if they're a good shop or not, because it's your first time that you've
already
ever
ironed it
dealt
out
with them. Yeah, you already have that level of trust, and then you can deal with just the issues. Well, my brakes are worn out, they're into the rotors, and I need a brake flush. Here's my issues, and now I need to make a decision on how to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're able to deal with just the problem, but not have that wondering doubt.
And like we've said before, it's kind of a good idea to kind of continue to go to that person, just simply because you might need brakes, say, next oil change. Well, time the next oil change comes, you've kind of already prepared yourself for, the brake job, and then so on and so on. Especially things like timing belts can be missed when you kind of skip around from shop to shop. Mainly because, one shop may not know that you either just did it or you just recommended it. And then, of course, it may be a 100,000-mile timing belt. You go to another shop at 100,000 miles, and then it's forgotten. You just assume it's already been done. Mainly just to keep kind of the electronic record log, kind of current. And, of course,
we have had 2 situations like that. One situation was a customer come into us, and they said, we would like to have a timing belt. My car has 120,000 miles on it, and I need to have a timing belt replaced. Well, a timing belt goes a good many years. A lot of cars, they can go like 90,000 miles or up to 10 years. And so with those cars, one of them, we looked at it, and we had replaced it had been 5 years, and it was at like 90,000 miles, but it was already done. So we were able to call the customer and say, hey, I know you wanted a timing belt. Another one, our equipment does go into Carfax, so we were able to read Carfax. Someone come in for a timing belt, and we were able to look at it and say, yes, your timing belt was already done at another shop.
Well, too, a lot of people don't understand that Carfax, no doubt, everybody thinks of it for accidents and whatnot, but it also does have a repair log also, as far as when the oil was changed and tires rotated, the whole 9 yards. So that's if the place that you're carrying it to reports to Carfax. So that's kind of another plus, like you mentioned. So.
You want to let's bring Ron on the line and mention?
Yeah, we can just tell him about the break coming up.
We'll be getting right back to him. Hey, Ron, welcome to the C&C Auto Show. And would you mind holding just for a little bit while we're going to take a real quick break?
No.
Well,
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
We're gonna put you on hold anyway, Ron. But Ron's gonna be we're gonna be bringing him on in just a few seconds, and I want to read the tech tip quiz one more time, and that is Josiah could not get his car to move. He tried everything. He paid an automobile technician $50 for a card, and the card made it where he could move his car. What kind of card was it? If you know the answer, give us a call. And we're going to be taking a real quick break. Coming back, we'll be talking to Ron and others, and we'll be talking more about how to find the shop that's right for you. All that and more with the C&C Auto Show as soon as we return.
Well, if I had money, I'd tell you what I'd do. I'd go downtown, buy a Mercury or two. I'm crazy about a Mercury.
And we are back with you. For all of you that like to work on your own car, or if you just want to know more about your car, I have some great news. The NTK people have released a lot of new videos. It's like 25 training videos on their YouTube channel. And these high-quality videos, they cover everything from accelerator position sensors to washer fluid sensors. And that's all at NGK Spark Plug YouTube channel. Great source of information and very high-quality videos. And you need to check that out. Okay, John Ryan, we were talking to Ron.
We were. Let's put him back on.
Ron, we had talked very briefly to you, but we are here, and you have our full attention now. What can we help with?
I've never known anybody have Aaron's full attention.
I just wanted to mention you were talking about that presidential car from the tailgate report. I don't know if you've ever seen the detail as it leaves the country or know anything about it. They have to load that beast up on a big C-130. And then behind it, there's, I think, 2 more C-130s that has his security detail cars involved in those planes. And then they're escorted by intercept jets to their designation. I forget the price tag of what it costs the United States just to do those maneuvers, but it's in the millions of dollars.
And
just to move that vehicle around.
Ron, there's actually 2 limousines that they take with them. They take one as a backup car.
One is a backup and also as a decoy.
Right.
But it's a set unit. It takes the logistics involved in that alone is mind-boggling.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I wanted to mention a tip as far as to find out a good shop wherever you are.
Yeah.
I think every good, decent person that lives in the South is going to go to a church. And if you go to your local church, find the church in your community that you feel comfortable in, you could talk with any one of the members in that church or the pastor himself. You know how tight a pastor is with a dollar.
Yeah.
He's going to know who the best mechanic is, who's the best sheetrocker, the best roofer.
Right.
But especially an automobile mechanic. He will know. And when you got to go to church every Sunday and you're in the presence of your mechanic, he's going to do a good job.
Yeah.
Or else, right?
And that is true. And Ron, another area that fits into that also is a hairdresser. Also, a hairdresser.
They know the good and the bad, don't they?
A lot of people that provide services that they get to know a lot of other people.
Yeah.
They do that, and I try to do that a lot for our customers that come in. It's not unusual at all to ask me if they know someone that paints houses or does carpentry work and different things like that. So,
absolutely, and also as well as if you're just not if you just want to find someone by the phone book. What I've done in the past when I'm in a town and I don't know anybody, I will get on of course I check with the local parts places, and usually they'll have a good suggestion. But you could call up each one of those suggestions and ask them, how long you've been in business and is it family run?
Yeah.
If it's family run and they've been in business for 10 plus years, it's a safe bet that they'll do good work.
Yeah. Great tips.
If he's been in business for a week.
Yeah.
I know a setup question for him. Tell him you have a Power Stroke diesel and you need to tune up some spark plugs and see what they say.
Well, when you got that much investment in a vehicle, when you're looking at a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 automobile, my Lord, I was at Publix here, not far from my house here recently. And there was a Silver Cloud Rolls Royce in the parking lot. And as a further note, just to show you how well this economy's doing, in the last weekend, I drove around Martinez and Evans to do a few errands. I seen no less than 5 brand new, spanking, right out of the box Corvettes.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Decked out.
Yep.
I mean, had everything on them. And they were just beautiful cars.
Right, I think to back that up.
I've never seen that before.
What's funny about that, too, is like, 80s cars and stuff like that. You just rarely see an 80s model anything on the road anymore because of that same thing. Everybody's buying newer and newer cars. Because it's just weird. You just don't see that era of cars. There's still some 90s hanging around, but like 80s, you just don't see that many of.
No, and I imagine y'all spending a lot more time in the coffee room.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, guys, I sure enjoy listening to y'all show, and it's been a wealth of information. Y'all have a great weekend and make her safe.
Thank you, Ron, and we sure enjoy Ron calling also.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and that reminded me, we have a Corvette down there now. 78 Corvette, gentleman had it 40 years. He would like for us to put an engine in it, mild cam.
Yeah.
Bo's Machine Shop here in this area.
Yeah.
Encourage everyone to have a machine shop that they really know and trust, especially if you're a repair facility. And you
even a DIY person.
Yeah. Do it yourself. If you do stuff yourself, it's a good idea to have a really good machine shop in this area.
One day you'll need some rotors cut or a flywheel machined, and it's kind of a good idea to have something in your pocket.
And really, that's what's great about here. We have different areas that when you've been in business a long time, you get different companies that you trust a lot. Like for instance, our printing needs here. We use a company called Phoenix Printing. They're well known in this area, huge well known, and
we can throw a stone at them.
Actually, a lot of things even outside this area. They do stuff all around the country, but beautiful printing company, and we've been using those for years. And so when you go there and you've been knowing them a long time, all you do is call them up and say, "Hey, I want some more form number 2209."
Yeah.
And things get easier.
That's exactly like what you're saying. The same would work for an automotive shop. When you have a flat tire, you say, "Hey, order me a tire." It's in their system. They know the tire size. Or, "Hey, I'm coming for my oil change." They may know you have 5 vehicles. Well, which one is it? That kind of thing.
Yeah, and all of that just makes things go so much better when you're able to find good people to do the things you need. Now, John Ryan, I think it's real important that we mention one of the main things that has to do with finding a repair facility for you, and that item has to do with trust.
Oh, absolutely.
That is the biggest thing. When you're working with vehicles or you're working with another shop, there has to be some level of trust there, because there's going to be things that shop may mention that needs to be done.
Right.
That it is real difficult for you to know whether, unless you listen to the C&C Auto Show a lot, it may be really difficult for you to know for sure whether that should need to be done. For instance, brake flushes.
Right.
If they say brake flush and you don't know anything about brake fluid, you'd say, I've had cars 20 years, I've never replaced brake fluid. Are you crazy?
Right.
You have to have that level of trust that the later model cars are a lot different than they used to be. They have anti-lock brakes. They have a lot more power than they did.
But also, kind of take it upon yourself to build trust in them. When they tell you need front brakes, say, "I want to see them."
Yes.
And tell me why.
Ask those questions. That's a great point right there, John Ryan. Ask those questions until you feel comfortable, and that company that you're dealing with should feel very good about answering those questions.
And I mean, I think it's really quick if you do that, it's really quick to decide if they're trustworthy or not, simply because, like I said, if they say it needs brakes, show me it needs brakes, and if you feel it doesn't, I mean, that kind of tells you the answer.
That they should be willing to go above and beyond to make sure all of your questions are answered to where you feel really good.
And the only other thing is there's a little bit of legwork involved. A lot, or another way would be go get an inspection at a place that you're thinking about doing business with, and go get another inspection at the other place you're thinking about doing business. And if they come back relatively close or the same and same price and stuff like that, versus one might be recommending everything under the sun, and one might be specific on it needs brakes and this and this, and prioritize the list.
And that does add one of the final items also. That adds in to as you're looking for a shop, get something small first.
Yeah, don't go in and buy an engine.
Yeah, go ahead and have some oil changes done and find out if that trust is there. And then if you deal with them, make sure that they have all the accurate information. Go ahead and get with them and make sure that they know your cell phone number, if it's possible for you to give that. Let them know if you like to be text message, if you like email, or what type of information that you like. So if you do all that, there's no doubt in my mind.
You'll find you a good one.
You will find the shop that is right for you. The time clock's on E. We need to pull over for now, but we will be back on the road in no time. I'm Aaron Clements with co-host John Ryan Mooney. Our show producers are Dominic Frito, Sandy Klein, technical engineer is Zach Llewellyn, and we would all like to say thank you to all of you that tuned in and logged in, and especially those that called in to ride with us on the C&C Auto Show.